Hey everybody, it's Lynn from A Bit of Birdsong, and it's journal time. This is the journal that I started when I was pregnant with my fourth child, and she was a girl. I had boy, 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 girl, and so I had four children, ages 10 and under, and it was crazy. I always worked full time. Even though I worked at home, I always had to work. And I worked 40 hours a week. I did typing, um, medical transcription so that I could be with my children and still make a reasonable amount of money. Although it seems like it was sucked into a black hole with food and clothes for four children. But it was a blast. And it went by so fast. Now I have my oldest is almost 30 and the baby is going to be 20 her next birthday. So I've got to read this is a page that I had typed up because I had so much to say, and I'm not going to read all of it. My On top of everything else, my dear dad, bless him, he had the cerebral aneurysm that I've talked about before, and it was devastating for him. I had He was out west in Utah when it happened, so I had him, once they stabilized him, I had him flown to North Carolina, and he was too sick to bring home. But I was pretty much his caretaker as much as I could be. I would go see him and trim his nails and help him brush his teeth, and it was just there was a lot going on at this time in my life, so I won't go through everything, but there is one paragraph here. I hope I can read it without, anyway. I mean, this is really, really bearing everything because my boys were all boy. They played outside. We didn't have TV. We had movies and DVDs, and we had this old antenna where they could get public television. So, of course, they whined and complained about, wanting Cartoon Network and all this stuff, but they had hundreds of Disney movies and National Geographic, and they loved that. So the point is, they climbed trees and they made forts in the backyard and ran around and played and jumped and ran, and they were always, it looked like the Little Rascals. Okay, they were dirty from playing outside, and I was busy. And so anyway, so I had talked a little bit about my dad, and then I'm going to read about the kids, and this will give you a little bit of my kids' personalities as well. So this was 1999, so Michaela would have been 1, and John would have been 5, and Joseph would have been 8, and Daniel would have been 11. So I had my hands full. On a brighter note, I took all the children out shopping tonight for Christmas. It is so hard to buy clothes that fit. I took them as part of their Christmas present and let them pick some things out. Joseph got 6 new pairs of boxers and a tank top and a pair of Pokemon athletic shoes. Doesn't that sound like him? He also got a metal box with about 70 Pokemon cards in it. John got one of those too. Daniel got a pair of wide leg cords and a navy blue vest and some Adidas athletic shoes and a box of Pokemon cards. John got a leftover Halloween costume that was on a clearance rack for $1.89, a Pokemon character, of course, and a pair of blue jeans. That's the way he said it. He could not say his L's very well, and some Pokemon athletic shoes. It was like a zoo getting all of them fitted for shoes because Michaela got some shoes also. And remember, she was 1 year old. I was so embarrassed. And sometimes it is just like an act of Congress to even get all the kids dressed. They've all got their shoes. They've all got their socks. They've all got coats in case they need them. And you've got your purse, you've got your wallet, you have the diaper bag, you've got extra diapers and baby wipes, and you've got your 4 kids. I mean, just making sure that they're all right. They had to stay where I could see them. So I hope that I don't sound like a horrible mother when you hear the state of affairs. And then once you get out in public and you see, you know, the department stores and everything's so clean and the music's playing, and of course you see some family with 2 or 3 perfect little girls who would never think about touching anything or breaking anything, and I have this gang of boys and a little girl who doesn't want to be like a little girl because she's got 3 big brothers. So I'm just giving you a little preface there. I was so embarrassed. Joseph's socks were black with dirt because he always wears his shoes without socks. Needless to say, the insides of his shoes are full of dirt. So when he put on clean white socks to go shopping, they, of course, turned as dirty as the insides of his shoes. Well, a nice, very, very neatly dressed man waited on us. His shirt was so ironed that you could see the creases down the sleeves. He had on a tie and smelled like cologne. John was wearing a shirt that had stains all over the front. I had told him to put on a clean shirt. I lost my clean shirt before we left, but I guess that was clean to him. I don't know. These were obvious crusted food stains, but as we were trying on shoes, I noticed that John's shirt was on backwards. The pocket that would normally be on the front was on John's back, and there were crusted food stains on the back front of John's shirt too. Again, I was so embarrassed. I said, "John, your shirt is on backwards." Well, John lifted up his arm and rolled his eyes and told the clerk, "Looky here." He had a hole under the arm of his shirt. The man laughed politely. Then Joseph was the second oldest, so he would have been 8, I suppose. And he had dyslexia, and Joseph had the imagination the size of the universe. He had a lot of make-believe friends, G.I. Joe camp at home. I mean, anyway, then Joseph, of course, who else would this be, looked at the clerk and said, "Excuse me, but I think your shirt is on inside out." The man jerked his arm up and looked at it like he could not believe his shirt would be inside out. Oh well, they will grow up one day, and we will miss things like this so much, right? So that is that entry. I love coming across things like this because it brings back so many memories. And once again, wait a minute, let me show you something. Just so you know, they all turned out okay. These are my sweeties. Got a glare on the frame. He's the one who had his shirt on inside out. And this handsome fellow with the hat, he's the one who had dyslexia, and now he loves to read. That's his favorite thing to do. But they're all fine. Even though it looked like a comic strip when we went out. So that's my little journal reading for tonight. I'm so happy to be back in the art studio. I know I mentioned that we have had really, really cold weather. The temperatures here have just been, it's been unseasonably cold. And I know it is January, it's supposed to be cold, but we went, I think it might have been even over a week or a week's worth of time where it never got above freezing. That is not like, that's just not like us, as they say. It's normally a little bit warmer than that. So I just shut the studio down. I did not want to spend a lot of money on an electric bill trying to heat up this concrete floor. So it feels really good. It's like 50s outside, so it feels like a literal heat wave. Anyway, thank you for joining me. I hope that you will like and subscribe if you're so inclined. I'm making so many friends on this YouTube adventure and crafting and doing the journals. I just love it. And I will see you next time. All right. Bye.